So I'm a 50-year-old dating coach. I just turned 50 this year, and I think turning 50 is a big deal. It's like kind of the border between being middle-aged and starting to get old. At least that's how I feel. So the premise of this show is that the Bachelor, he's 66 years old, and all of the women that are on the show are between 60 and 70. I think there was someone that was 77 on the show. So just the idea that this show is directed at an older audience, I think is really inspiring, because a lot of people, as they get older, they are, it's harder for them to find love. And so it's also harder for them to be seen. And a lot of this show, I think, is about showing the world that actually age is just a number, and you can be in such different conditions, and like 60 looks so different for so many people. And so I think this show is really to challenge a lot of those stereotypes, and it definitely does. I've seen a lot of people go through dating, and I've also gone through dating myself. So my perspective is from my personal experience, and also as a dating coach, and also as a matchmaker. There's this beginning part where people go in and they have their grand entrances, and the coolest entrance was by this woman, Cheryl, and she used to have like a job at the US Treasury, which I thought was really impressive. But she came in on a dirt bike, and she like came in like roaring through on this really amazing dirt bike. She was wearing like a helmet and had boots, and when she took off the helmet, she just had this like big smile, and she was very radiant, very feminine. And later in the show, he chooses her to go on a date, and he also comments on this like intrigue, like, wow, there's this beautiful woman who comes in on a dirt bike, and she talks about how like she had won some races and was kind of scrappy, and he's like, did you break a few bones? And she's like, yes, absolutely. And I could just see that there's this connection between how you live your life and how attractive you are. And there were plenty of women on the show that might have been more beautiful than her when they were younger, but now, since she's lived this amazing life and has these stories to tell, now she's the one who can capture his attention, not because of how beautiful she is, which she is, but it's more this like, oh, this person's like really fascinating. What exactly is going on here? I think that mysteriousness is what drew me in. It's what drew Mel in. And I think it makes it really hard for other women to stand out around her, because like this woman raced dirt bikes, and she's a mom, and she's awesome. Like, what are you gonna do? The other thing I noticed as a dating coach, and why I encourage people to date, is because so many of the women on this show, they were so excited to meet Mel and so sad and utterly disappointed that he didn't choose them, which I understand. But I think part of that came from just not dating at all, and not putting themselves out there, or maybe not even meeting guys that were half as nice as Mel. And as a dating coach and matchmaker, I can tell you, like, he was a very, very, if he was in a matchmaking system, he would have been like among the top people that you could match. So these women haven't had a chance to date guys like this. They haven't even had a chance to be in the same room. So I can see how like being in this situation woke something up in them, like, oh, this is actually something that I want to do. As I was watching this, I was thinking, damn, like these women need to get out more. Like they really, really do. They need to go out more. They need to meet more men, even if they aren't interested. So many of these women, it was like they haven't been spoken to or kissed in so long. So of course, in the moment when they meet Mel, they're too fragile, they're too easy to let down. They don't have that confidence. And so I think like it's really important for people and for women to continue to date, even if you don't feel like it, even if there's no one to date. Just keep going out and making sure that you don't get in a situation where like you haven't gone on a date for so long, and then you happen to meet someone like Mel in the wild, and it's like such a big deal. the biggest takeaway for me was that when you stop dating, it warps your mind. Like, you become more fragile, and things feel too important to you. So that was one thing. And the other thing is, the women that were the most attractive were the ones that were the most interesting. And the way that they were the most interesting was that they had lived interesting lives. One big difference I noticed between the Bachelor regular and the Golden Bachelor is I got the sense that the stakes were way higher on the Golden Bachelor for these women. It kind of got the sense that it wasn't just that they were losing a chance with this guy, is that they were losing a chance to live this entire life that they wanted to experience again. And that made me feel really sad. And there was one woman that was saying she had just like lost her husband, and she was like, it's so hard to go to a restaurant and just get takeout and bring it home. And, I see all these other couples at the restaurant, and I just want to be one of them. That isn't her wanting to be with Mel. That is her wanting to be with somebody. And if you want to be with someone, then try it. Like, a lot of these same women will have a match or will have a date, and he just won't be good enough. So I think there's has to be an understanding of, yeah, you want to have love, you want to be with someone that you love, but you also want to have the experience of just being with somebody. You can't really explain it. It's more like, think of it as like an amusement park ride. Like, you want to go on this ride. You want to know what it feels like to be in a restaurant with a man. It's not about, do you want to be in love with him? It's about, do you want this experience of being with somebody? I think that was really powerful thing to see. I thought that it was really interesting how one of the challenges they gave to the women was to do this cheerleading, and I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe they're asking these women to be cheerleaders. I can't believe they're asking these women to wear these ridiculous dresses. It's like everyone's getting ready for the prom. Women their age are incredibly stylish. Like, they don't wear prom dresses. They wear a cool outfit. They have cool jewelry. Their presentation and their style is a reflection of their lives. And like, the cool thing about being an older woman is you have all this life experience. You don't have to run around in like a prom dress. You have like real clothes and real style and real taste because you've lived a whole life. So I feel like this show is not really showing like, these older women are being asked to do things that younger women do. So we're not really being presented in a way that's like bringing out what's valuable about an older woman. What's valuable about an older woman is that she has lived a life and she knows what she wants. She's not wondering about things. She's not naive or gullible or overly optimistic, delusional. Like, younger people can be that way because they haven't lived. But if you're I'm 50, if you're in your 60s, like, there's no excuse to being so naive. Like, you've lived and seen so many things. So I think that when I watch this show, on the one hand, I'm so impressed by the women that are on there, and on the other hand, I feel really depressed because I think, wow, these women are so accomplished and talented and beautiful, and they're falling all over this guy that they don't even know. And in their lives, they've seen their friends, couples, they've met people that are not who they say they are. So none of that cynicism, or not even cynicism, just that like not falling for it, like none of that is there in this show. Overall, I thought this was like super entertaining. I definitely want to watch the next one. And the key takeaway for me from this, the best way to win The Bachelor, the best way to win the Golden Bachelor is as a contestant is to live an interesting life and to be an interesting person and to have passions about things. Like Cheryl with her dirt bike, that is so cool. That's just one example of a person who has defined herself. And I think that confidence that someone builds when they're they're living their own life, is really compelling, and you can see how it can play out in dating. I was watching the show and my boyfriend came in to tell me something, and I've never been so attracted to him. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I have a boyfriend at age 50. Like, I've seen The Bachelor. I'm like, I'm not gonna go on that show. I'm gonna stay in this relationship. No, just kidding. I love my boyfriend. But hey, if you are any age, doesn't matter what age, there are a few things you can do right now. The first one is to date. You have to date. And by date, I mean you need to meet a man for an extended period of minutes. That's really all I'm asking you to do, is you need to go out and you need to go on a date. You need to have an interaction with a man, the pretense of which is dating. You need to date, so that you don't go on the show and act like you have no idea what a man is, okay? Number one. Number two is you have to be interesting and have an interesting life. What that means is whatever you're passionate about, I'm passionate about music, travel, whatever it is, do it, and do it to the extreme so that you have something to talk about for your own self. But also, if you want to just do it for dating, do it for dating. Like this woman who rode a dirt bike, she was so awesome, you know, and that's what made him attracted to her. And actually, you know, that was something that made her attracted to herself. So whatever interests you have, if it's cooking, go buy 42 eggs and try to perfect the omelet. If it's travel, don't wait to get a boyfriend. Go and do that trip, be miserable doing it, but at least say that you did it. Like, have a story to tell that is more than, I've got 2 kids. Like, I've got 2 kids, yawn. Like, it's so boring. Sorry, I have 2 kids, so I feel like I can say this. And then the third thing, which is apparent, is strength training. Be strong, like keep your body moving, doing fun things, keeping your body moving, staying active. Like, you don't want to be on The Bachelor or any show and have nothing to say for yourself. It's really important. It's important for men too. It's important for everybody. But on a show like this, it becomes very apparent that that is, that's the differentiator. You know, all these women are beautiful, probably all equally beautiful, but what makes one more interesting than the other is like what they've done with all of those years. So I'm super excited to see the next episode. Really inspired by the women on the show. I loved seeing them come together, and I also like got a little heartbroken when they were being catty and stuff, but whatever, it's the nature of the show. And so anyways, I'll be back with more comments after the next episode.